Hello guys, my name is Zilly and today we're going to be featuring Ningguang. Ningguang is a Geocatalyst user that is primarily a DPS. So what does that mean? The fact that she's a Catalyst user means she deals exclusively Geo damage, one of the elements that is the least resisted in the game, which means she can be versatile in most situations. She has a high skill cap, incredible amounts of damage, Uh, lots of damage mitigation just by the fact that she uses Geo, and a very low energy cost ultimate. However, she is quite skill intensive, and proper use of her wall and her attack rotation can take a lot of practice. Now, let's take a look at her talents. Her normal attack throws two homing rocks that deals relatively low damage, but give her a Star Jade. Her charge attack consumes this Star Jade to deal extra damage and, in conjunction with her level 1 Ascension talent, costs 0 stamina. Her E, her Jade Screen, deals large amounts of damage to nearby enemies and creates a Geo Construct that does not obstruct movement, but blocks enemy projectiles. In conjunction with her level 4 Ascension talent, when Ningguang passes through this wall, she also gets a 12% Geo damage bonus. The amount of damage this Jade Screen can block scales with Ningguang's max hit points. Her ultimate Star Shatter fires off a large amount of homing rocks that deal a massive amount of damage. If her Jade Wall is also down on the field, it will shatter her Jade Screen and fire an increased amount of projectiles. The fact that she's Geo damage exclusive makes her easy to build. So now let's take a look at optimal gear for Ningguang. If you remember my previous video, you'll know that we want as much Geo damage as we can get, followed by crit chance, crit damage, and then pump everything else into attack. Now let's take a look at weapons. Now I'm on the Genshin.gg weapon database. Link in the description below if you want to take a look yourself. Now, as always, if you have a 5-star catalyst, use it. The boosted stats you get from a 5-star will more than outweigh any passive from 4-star or below catalysts. Plus, both these catalyst passives are incredible. If I had to choose between the two, I would choose the Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds, since it has both crit rate in the secondary stat and elemental damage in the passive. As for 4-star catalysts, the Widsith is an interesting choice simply for the crit damage secondary stat. However, the Interlude passive, that is one of the 3 you can get every 30 seconds, is mostly wasted on Ningguang. As I said, she is a Geo user, and as such, her reactions are mostly defensive, and Elemental Mastery only increases the amount of damage the shield from the crystallization effect can block. And since you're going to be having so many shields down, it's mostly a waste. The Solar Pearl is the BP weapon that you get from buying the Battle Pass. And as I've said before in other videos, is always a great choice for any DPS or even damage-oriented support catalyst user. If you have the Solar Pearl, use the Solar Pearl. As for other 4-star catalysts, some honorable mentions are the Eye of Perception, which is just solid. However, it's not a first choice simply because it has attack as a secondary stat, and you're not going to need that much attack. Usually, you're going to be looking for crit damage and crit rate from your secondary stats, since they're hard to find in a large amount elsewhere. Another interesting choice is the Prototype Malice. It does have HP as a secondary stat, which is mostly wasted on a DPS. However, because Ningguang has a 40 energy ultimate, she can proc its passive very frequently and operate almost as the team's healer for Abyss and other content. And once you refine it to refinement rank 5, this will heal how much? 18% of your team's health every time you use your Q. Plus, you also get an energy refund. So it's an interesting choice if you lack healers. Any 4-star catalyst with energy recharge as a secondary stat is mostly wasted. Ningguang is not a support, she's a DPS, and as such, you're gonna be looking for elemental damage, crit rate, and crit damage, first and foremost. As for 3-star catalysts, none of them are too good. If I had to choose one, I would choose the Twin Nefrit, simply for the crit rate in the secondary stat. Otherwise, I would avoid using a 3-star artifact, a 3-star catalyst on Ningguang as a main DPS. Now, let's talk about artifact stats. First of all, if you've seen my other video, you probably already know. But for those that haven't, for the feather, it always is attack. The flowers always hit points. You'll want attack percent on your sand slot, geo damage bonus on your cup, and crit rate or crit damage on your headpiece, depending on what you have in the weapon slot and when you have rolled for substats. Now, I'm personally using the Solar Pearl, which gives 25% crit rate, and as such, I've chosen crit damage for my headpiece slot. Now, as for artifact sets, you have basically two options for Ningguang. One option is what I'm running, which is 2-piece Archaic Petra, 2-piece Gladiator's Finale. Unfortunately, the 4-piece of Archaic Petra is not that good for Ningguang. It's much better for a Geo support, like Geo Traveler or Noelle, if you want to use her that way. Uh, the 4-piece might say that it gives a 35% resistance to a particular element. The truth is it gives a 35% elemental damage bonus for that element, which means if I, for example, imbue an enemy with Electro with Fischl's E, and then attack with Ningguang and get an Electro Crystallization Shield and pick that up with a 4-piece Archaic Petra set, all my party members would get a 35% Electro damage bonus. Now, it's not often you can get Geo damage, Geo Crystallizations. If you somehow can, then it would be amazing, and I would definitely be running Archaic Petra. However, as it is, I feel 2-piece Archaic Petra and 2-piece Gladiator's Finale for most players will be the best. Now, what's the second option? The second option is going to be running 4-piece of Retracing Bolide or Bolide, I'm not sure. What this does is while you're protected by a shield, you gain an additional 40% on normal and charge attack damage. Now, we haven't gone over Ningguang's rotations yet and how she should be using her auto attacks, but most of her damage is going to be coming from her normal and charged attacks. Now, it also depends on constellations, because if you have the second constellation, you can use an extra E after every Q. But even then, if you can assure a 100% uptime on the shield, the 4-piece Retracing Bolide is very close to the 2-piece Archaic Petra and 2-piece Gladiators. However, it's more of a scaling thing. So, for example, for my Ningguang, which is level 70 with a level 80 weapon, 2-piece Archaic Petra and 2-piece Gladiator's Finale does more damage than a 4-piece Retracing Bolide set, even if I assume 100% uptime. And I did do the math for this, and for my specific Ningguang, the damage difference is about 3 to 4%. So really, it's not a big deal. If you choose Retracing Bolide, so you have the best set for level 90 Ningguang with a level 90 weapon and great substats on your artifacts and everything, with a legendary, with a 5-star catalyst, then you're not losing out much until you get there. So don't worry about that. But for everyone else that just wants the easiest to use and the strongest option right now, that'll probably be for you 2-piece Archaic Petra, 2-piece Gladiator's Finale. Now, if you're not AR40 yet, I would definitely use a Berserker set at the 2-piece. You can definitely run 2-piece Berserker, 2-piece Archaic Petra. It's probably better. It's not probably, it's definitely better than 2-piece Archaic Petra, 2-piece Gladiator's Finale, especially if you have the correct stats in your main stat artifacts. However, the Berserker set does not roll as legendary. You can only get it up to epic. So you eventually do have to switch it out. But until you get to AR40, AR45, where you can start gearing up with full legendary artifacts, it's not a bad choice, especially if you already have a Berserker set with some good stats rolled. Okay, so let's talk about Ningguang's attack rotation. So the way her auto attack works is you want to always be using her charged attack only if you have a Jade Star, and you get these Jade Stars by using her normal attack or Star Jade. So if you look at the damage difference at talent level 5, my charge attack does 231%, but my normal attack does only 74% because it throws 2 rocks. So you definitely want to be using charge attack as much as possible, but you also don't want to be wasting stamina. So normally the best attack rotation would be 1 normal attack, 1 charge attack. However, because the rocks have a travel time, sometimes if you do that, you won't have the Star Jade yet when you use the charge attack. So if you want to be safe, you should always go 2 normal attacks and 1 charged attack. 2 normal attacks and 1 charged attack. Now, in case you didn't know, if you hold the directional key while normal attacking, Ningguang fires off normal attacks faster. So, for example, this is without holding a directional key, and I'm clicking as fast as I can. And this is with a directional key. And as you can see, it's a lot faster. However, sometimes when you're holding a directional key down and you go for a charge attack, it sometimes doesn't go off. So this is why I said that Ningguang's a skill-intensive champion if you want to use her to her maximum potential. You want to be holding a directional key for the normal attack and then firing off the charge attack without a directional key to avoid canceling it. Now, let's talk about her constellations. Her first constellation makes her normal attack still AoE damage. It's not as incredible as you think it is because it's only for the normal attack and not the charge attack. However, especially if you're running someone that can clump up all the enemies together like Venti or Sucrose, it's not bad. It's a great constellation to have. The second constellation says that whenever the Jade screen is shattered, you can use another Jade screen. Now, what this means is whenever you use E and then use your Q that shatters your Jade screen, you can follow it up with another E right on top. And that gives Ningguang a great burst damage combo. However, it's not strictly necessary. Since she is a DPS, you don't have to worry too much about her burst. However, if you have it, it's great. It adds another combo to her. Her fourth Just gives the party some elemental resistance. It's not bad. It's nice to have. And her last constellation, once you use your ultimate, which, as I said, only costs 40 energy, you get 7 Star Jades. That basically adds, well, let's take a look. At talent level 5, that adds almost a 300% damage bonus to your ultimate because you're going to get 7 Star Jades, then you're going to use a charge attack and unleash these 7 Star Jades. So, yeah, basically all her constellations are great. They help her out, but none of them are necessary to have to use the champion, to use the character. And finally, let's talk about some good teammates for Ningguang. What Ningguang lacks is uh, CC. So someone like Venti with her ultimate is incredible. Sucrose, very good. What Ningguang also lacks is offensive elemental reactions. So it's useful to have the characters in the other slots that can proc elemental reactions that you actually care about other than just crystallizations. So you can run someone like Faisal and Jiangling or something like that. Or Mona and Lisa, for example, to support her. And finally, Noelle as the group's healer is a very good choice because, in case you didn't know, having 2 Geo characters in your party gives you the Geo Resonance that increases resistance to interruption and also gives you a 15% damage multiplier while you're protected by a shield. Now, when you're running 2 Geo characters, you're pretty much always going to be protected by a shield between Noel Z and Ningguang's crystallizations. So that basically reads as a 15% damage multiplier. And it's probably a lot better than even the Pyro Resonance, especially for Ningguang. So that's it for this guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. And please like, comment, and subscribe if you have a character that you'd like me to review next, to take a look in depth and with math. I'd be happy to do so. Just leave a comment in the comment box below. And as always, have a nice day.